All right, I'm on my way to see Frank and Dave, get some breakfast, and talk about this whole thing. But in fairness, in the video, I after Kim and I talked for maybe a couple of weeks about this idea about not just doing an album with Mayfair Laundry again, but getting the band back together, as it were, with Frank and Dave.
We're putting the band back together.
So after a couple of weeks, I reached out to Dave, and we had a great time together, talked very little about the band, mostly just about life, old life and recent life, kids and family and work and what we've kind of gone through, struggles we've each kind of gone through. It was great to get to know them. And then we talked about the band and what it could be like and what's it going to be like musically. Are we all compatible? Are we going to make an interesting, good sound? What's it like with Kim and I being married? And is that going to be like John and Yoko? Then we thought, well, how should we approach Frank? And Dave and I agreed that he should probably do it. We don't know how Frank would respond to me. He and I talked a total of twice in the last 20 years, but was interested enough, and so he reached out, and we got lunch a week or two later. And it was great. And likewise, we spent 3-4 hours together talking about life and kids and family and work and pains we've kind of gone through, struggles, and to get to know each other a bit. And it was really good. But then we leave him telling me, yeah, it's hopeful, think about it. So it's just, I have no idea. So we're going to get together with the three of us now and talk about it more.
My two questions are, how do we make this?
Are you guys ready to order?
Yeah, I am.
So, yeah.
Perfect. We're going to get it for you.
Me first?
Yeah.
Meat lover omelet.
Hash browns or honey fries?
No potatoes. Can I do some tomato on the side?
Sliced tomatoes?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And what kind of toast?
No toast.
Okay.
And can I have a side of bacon?
Side bacon? Yeah.
So really what we're starting is a diet recommendation channel.
All right, here we go.
Go ahead, you drive.
How do we make this a great experience for all? I think that's the thing. We want everybody, because you were saying, well, I want to be a good time. So that was how do we do that? And then my other one is, how do we inspire the best ideas and performances out of each other? Because we were talking about, I was telling Frank, duplicates freak me out. Yeah. Recording freaks me out. The red light goes on and I get red light fever because I don't do it anymore, right? So it's I have to do this right. So it's my best performances are going to be when I'm super relaxed and time and all of a sudden.
Not when we're paying $2,000 a day for a studio.
Yeah, exactly. I told Frank, I'm dude, if you're unless we play, honestly, I feel our best stuff happened when we played a lot.
Well, we had a house studio, right?
We did.
It was super
We could
nice
at
and
will
good.
when we felt like being creative.
Everybody
You want to be
together.
the melody, I want to be the drummer on guitar.
Come on.
And you want to be the counter melody, So it's there really is no root of any of our music. We're all being the flavor. What I'm saying is, so now something a little bit more obtuse.
Denver with fruit.
That's me. I'm fruity Denver.
I'm proposing that
Who has the meat lovers on?
there needs to be, I think, an evolution. And what's current now, they do blend in more ear candy than maybe they did in 1997. So I think there'd be a little more ear candy and maybe more than you would do if I wasn't involved, right?
Yeah.
But
Well, that's the tension that creates
the
something
tension
good.
right?
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
How could
I
everybody
get
be
that.
happy?
Right.
I get that.
Right.
If you went to your extreme, I'd be very unhappy. If I went to mine, you'd be very unhappy.
Exactly. So
somewhere in the middle kind of
But
works.
that's what we're here for. Exactly.
I wrote down that a band is 4 people making the sound. It's 4 people making.
You're saying Mayfair Laundry is just the 3 of us, and whatever singer happens to be singing at the time, right?
That's how I see
In
it.
some manner, speaking of what you said,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that you were able to say that. I'm able to take that to Kim, and Kim's going, and it freaks her out, right?
Yeah, I know.
It's
That's what makes it a band. Otherwise, it's just a
Right.
solo project.
See, because what Kim and I have been talking about is we already know what we could do, and we know how good in our mind it could be, and exactly all it could be, and we'd be fully happy with it. We know we're going to be less happy with this. I mean, not less, right?
I understand.
More happy in a different way, but less of our own exact personality.
So that's an interesting concept because it's funny, you know how we were talking about how we have no matter how hard we try, we still have our own prism.
Right.
That we view everything through, and you can say I'm being objective, and you're being objective through your prism. You know? And so it's funny that your immediate default is to discuss how the public would accept something. I could care freaking less.
Yeah, that gets really tricky. I want to be totally honest.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
but
what I mean.
So I'm gonna really love it,
Yeah.
But I think when I really love it is when I am proud of it and I'm proud to show it. Not the glory of other people liking it, but the idea that they like it, right? The idea that people go, wow, that's a good song. That's a great, it's a great song. It's a great recording. I love people to like it. So maybe that's vague.
I think the difference though is because I can identify with that.
Yeah.
I want to be able to show it to a friend and say, hey, look at this, look what we did. This is cool. I think you probably, and I'm maybe making assumptions. I think you want more people to like it. Like there's a broader subsection, and that's why the more pop influence, those types of things. Like you really want it to appeal to more.
No, that you're right. I do want it to appeal to more people, and so that's where the difference between Scrub, which appealed to the rock crowd, really kind of only.
Yeah.
And the New and Improved, I was more proud of because it appealed to more people, or more people liked it and responded. More, radio stations played it. More this and this and this. I do like that. I like more people to like it.
But even in Playhouse, when that first single started getting played, that was gratifying for me, and I think it was for you too, right?
For Sweet Your Love.
Sweet Your Love.
Sweet Your Love.
Like,
no, it's
someone's
hilarious that it's
hilarious, true, but still gratifying.
Yeah.
Still gratifying.
Sure.
You're not going to say, I wish they wouldn't play our music.
No, not that way. It just doesn't.
If this will explain more deeply, I feel like Scrub was my compromise. Like it could have been dirty. But it was like, okay, I'll do the horns, they'll do the acoustic guitar. Who am I? I'm talking about the Elefantes here. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm just going to turn my overdrive up and go.
Right. We wanted that opportunity.
Yeah, exactly. And here we are here today because of it. We haven't strapped up and played some music together and see what feels good. We might have an ideal in our mind of, oh, this is what I picture, and then we get together and something else comes out.
Yeah, and I think we're all trying to solve worst case scenario, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to solve what's the worst thing that can happen by doing this together.
I think we're just, like I said, we don't want to destroy anything that's been started.
Yeah.
As far as we've made progress. We're hanging out, we're talking, we're texting.
Yeah.
That's a great thing. After decades.
Right.
I think the purpose of all these is let's get all the expectations out there now. So we know what parameters, because it is compromise, it is a Venn diagram, it is everybody bringing their stuff, and then
you play with a lot of people and you realize there is an element that you didn't recapture, no matter how great the musicians were you were playing with.
Totally, because actually really good musicians play differently than we play. You know what I mean? Like trained guys.
There's chemistry. It's an understanding of what's happening around you.
Yeah.
Well, and that chemistry, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
That's what I'm excited about.
So that's why I was curious about yours and Kim's conversation, because you said in New York you started talking about this. What was the idea of let's get the band back together? What were you guys thinking?
What were we thinking? No,
well,
really,
because I feel like that's the mystery.
And she may not have she's obviously not sitting in on these conversations.
Right.
So she's not getting the direct blunt of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So how is that being managed? That I told you you're in the most impossible situation.
Yeah. Right. Appreciate that.
That's normal.
Yeah.
So she's getting a picture of, of not being wanted, probably, and all those things, and I don't even know how to approach any of that, or I'll apologize profusely to you for putting in that position, but
that first tour, she was so nervous and
the whole thing, she got thrown into it. We laughed.
The way she describes it now, super nice to her. You probably felt sorry for her. That's how she described it. You probably just felt sorry for me. You tried to be super nice to me. Frank didn't like me, and that was pretty clear. But so there's these three dynamics, right?
Yeah.
Totally three dynamics. And she admits that like it would be, she doesn't get everything she wants, because like with her and I don't either. Just so you like, when we're writing, I don't get everything I want. I think this would be the greatest thing ever. She shoots it down. It's no different than us.
Yeah.
But now instead of me having 50% vote, I have 25% vote.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, and she has that same problem. She likes the idea of it because there's that payoff that you can't get without a true band, right?
Yeah.
So she likes it as much as we all like the idea of it. But we know we're setting ourselves up for, we know what we could get without it. We have no idea what it's going to be with it, right? We're not getting control of that anymore.
Yeah.
And we let it go because, again, we're asking you guys, do you want to be in the band again? But once that trigger is done, then suddenly now we're not going to charge you that, right?
Yeah.
And so even though if all it is we're going to agree to get together for that first time, and then every week we're deciding to still be in the band, you know? Because that's all I'm looking for from you guys. It's not, here's the contract, it's 2 years, you have to play in the band, we have to get together this many times a month, we have to do this album in so much time, we have to tour, whatever.
Yeah.
The agreement I'm looking for you guys
Is the next meeting or the next practice or whatever.
Well, let's start seeing if we can make good music again first, and then let's decide about making an album.
We have to audition ourselves.
We have to audition ourselves, right? Let's see if we make good music and see if we should do this album. And
well, that's the maturity and the self-awareness that we have now that we didn't have 25 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, I know myself, and I know that I have limits, and we all do. And so let's get in a room together with our instruments on and just see whether in our mind, the idea of how pleasing it might be, if it's actually that pleasing. He went like this.
Yeah, I can't.
Are you masquerading as the person who can see?
No, I can't.
I love it. See, it's all worth it for that.
That's the funny thing is, I don't know, just being a little bit personal, I don't know why our relationship, especially you and me, is so intense on so many levels.
Yeah.
It's like we can be so mad at each other, but appreciate the comic part, and the where we actually agree is like it's a deep agreement to it.
Right.
Because being in a band is going to be my escape, not the bubble I live in. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the second this becomes a bubble and it's like I'm getting kind of banged on, I have other responsibilities in life. This is what I get to go do for fun.
Yeah.
Which means when it starts to demand things of me, time and energy that isn't doable, I'm going to start to push back, not because I'm trying to be mean, just because I have no bandwidth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
And so, and that gets into the whole conversation is frequency of when we're getting together and all that stuff. I don't even know how we work. What I realized is we're all the way back to square one. I can't tour.
Yeah.
We're all the way back there to that same spot. No, I'm serious. Okay. I thought about it. I said, oh my gosh, it's the same three guys, same three people, same three defaults, same three influence, and same issue.
Problem.
Same.
Yeah. Are we
25
back?
years later, are we back?
Are we back? Exactly.
Happy birthday to you. I'm much more open to change than I used to be. Like, I don't know what that is, but it's like, oh yeah, no, that could be a good.
That's awesome.
Because honestly, writing the lyrics, and then usually once I write a lyric, I can't think of another one. Yeah. But right now, I'm able to just kind of change. Like, I wrote that country version,
right,
and then the ska version, I changed it around a lot to fit the phrase, and I'm like, oh, that wasn't so bad.
So you were able to do it.
So I think I'm more open to change than I am.
And going back to that is that I agree with you. Back then, my entire identity was wrapped into Mayfair Laundry.
Totally,
right? It had been my career working up, and this had to be it. I was so concerned. Now, I've got various things going on, and I don't. This doesn't need to be the end all for me. So I think from that perspective, I'll probably be mellower than you guys could ever imagine. New and improved does exist, right? And that's something you guys like. Maybe you're going to be easier to accept it. You're not, but you're going to. But I think that it's dangerous in the same way that I made that montage and it's got Shannon on there, right? And I showed that to Kim last week, and
how'd that go?
And so she's like, what, I even you're gonna see some Shannon, but she didn't like it. But then she's like, but it was the band and it existed. And I can't deny that it existed. I can't deny that Lovely Feet existed and that video exists. And so she's willing to do. And she toured and she did those songs. She did those songs for years, and it was never her native thing to do it, but she did it. And I think so. She's willing to accept it. Yeah. I think you guys need to be willing to accept new and improve. If we're to do a show, that we're probably doing improve that you maybe can't stand. Maybe you'll learn to like it. Maybe you won't.
Well, that was that. I told Frank, I'm like, that to me was the test, because I totally accept that it's there. I accept that Kim is as much Mayfair Laundry, if not more, than me, because she sang the songs that I wrote and and did the whole tour. So I totally accept that. Then I had to look at myself and say, would I be willing to play a live version of? I was like, can I play these songs? And that's the get over myself for me. Of like, can I?
So what'd you answer?
Well, I'm trying.
You're trying.
I'll try.
You'll try.
Yeah. I figure.
Will you try?
Yeah, I'll try.
Okay.
Make it our own.
That's
Right.
great.
You know what I'm saying? This is what it would have been had we stuck around. You know,
No, totally.
Yeah, for me, I just don't. I mean, I acknowledge that it's there, and I listened to it to try, and like I said, that second song I really like, and then there's another song that I really like. For me,
Personal
Scrub
taste
is like family photos and of my family, and New and Improved is like family photos of your
With your-
family.
with your stepdad.
It's great to say, oh, look at your kids, but I'm always going to like my kids.
I get that. So that's fine.
that's actually a great analogy.
Well, I'm just
But
saying.
that's my biggest thing.
Yeah,
right?
for
Can't
sure.
bash it. Kim's not going to bash Scrub.
Yep.
You guys don't bash that. That's all I'm looking for, right?
Yeah.
It's just that we're all adults about that.
If there's potential, I like to realize.
You like to
that.
maximize potential.
Yeah, it's like if I'm going to put this energy into something, I want to see all the ways it can benefit me, you,
Everybody.
Like we're
Make
having
sure
this
they-
meeting, well, let's throw a camera up because that maximizes it.
Right. Exactly.
You have limited bandwidth in your life,
Right.
and as you get older, you start to see like the window closing of like any good you can do or any influence you can have that's positive or anyone you can help, and so you start to like take your time more seriously.
Yeah. I think the reason I was so frustrated was because the goal, right?
Yeah.
And now there isn't a goal.
Right.
There might be a little bit of a hope. I would love for people
Like
to
you
love
said,
this.
the goal is the next meeting,
goal is
the next rehearsal, the next
Exactly. That's a
songwriting
great
session.
goal. Yeah.
It's just let's just go week to week.
And like Dave said, until it's not fun. When it's not fun anymore, I'm out.
yeah, and then we just meet for breakfast.
We meet for breakfast again. Exactly.
That's
right.
my
I'd say that was the
biggest,
stupidest thing
my
ever.
biggest
And the only
thing-
person that didn't quit the band is Kim, and she's doing Mayfair Laundry.
Yeah, my biggest thing is just I don't want to go back to divisions and dissensions and all. I don't want to exacerbate a wound. I'd rather a wound heal, and that's why those weird questions in my one song about like, can you even walk on the fracture? Is it going to hurt it more? So that's all I want. It's like if it's getting to where we are, but I don't think we will. We're so aware of it now.
I think we're so aware of
But
it
you
now,
will
there's
get,
no-
what I told Frank is like, because he's like, I see Paul getting frustrated with some things. And I'm like, I said, there'll be conflict. I don't think there won't be conflict. There'll be
sure will
these
be.
conversations.
That's how we handle it. I mean, there's no question where we all stand.
Yeah.
I think we just try,
Yeah.
and then we just go from there. I mean,
I like
you
it.
know,
Do we do a this with Kim first, or do we just jump straight into it?
I don't know. I think get together with our instruments. Okay.
and it'll remove the feeling of the necessity to address every annoyance,
Yeah,
like
maybe you're
verbally, like without any other purpose.
That's
You know,
true.
say we'll be less like zeroed in on
Yeah.
anything that's going to be conflict, and I just don't
Yeah.
want to focus on conflict.
No,
I think if we scrap
It
up
might be
a place,
nice. It
play
might be
some
great
music.
for you. Just be like, rather than one more of these hard ones, let's have some fun for a bit.